Guys, I am a mum. Can you believe that? I have had a baby and I'm back ready to film my birth story. This chair is really squeaky, by the way. I hope it isn't too distracting. I am a mum. I've had a baby. I really wanted to sit down and film this video before I forgot my birth story. So I have made a whole list of notes on my phone. It goes on for a while, so hopefully I'm not sat here for too long. Maybe grab a cup of tea, grab some biscuits and enjoy. Also guys, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan. Like I said, I've just had a baby. She is the best thing ever and she's been a really good baby. I don't really want to talk too soon, but she has been a literal angel and I will introduce her to you guys at the end of this video, but I'm going to get started with what actually happened and how I went into labour, because my last vlog I filmed, I was 39 weeks pregnant and that just feels like a whole lifetime ago. Like 39 weeks pregnant and now I'm like here almost, well, I'm a week postpartum currently as I'm speaking. I don't know how far gone I'll be after, obviously when this video goes up. I don't know when it's going to go up, but it's going to go up at some point. But yeah, I'm going to start. Let's look at my notes because this is going to be a long video. Birth story, here we go. This is my whole birth story. I hope I haven't missed anything out. I've sat here like with Jaden the other night and I was like writing it all down like quick. I really don't want to forget anything, which is why I'm filming it so soon. Like, I was going to give it a couple of weeks before posting, but I need to get this out before I forget. Also, this is a positive, also painful birth story, but it's all good. It all went really well for me. People might be able to relate, some people won't be able to relate. Yeah, I'm gonna get into it. Started on Thursday the 5th of October and I had my 41-week midwife appointment. So my appointment with my midwives were a bit all over the place. So the time I was supposed to have a midwife appointment, I was either having them a week before or a week ahead. So like my 38-week midwife appointment, I was having at 37 weeks. So when it came to seeing my midwife on my due date, I didn't actually see her then until 41 weeks. Plan to see you on your due date. I see my midwife at 39 weeks and I asked her about having a sweep and like kind of starting things off with getting the baby ready to come here, and she said we cannot actually do any intervention until after your due date or on your due date. So I think I mentioned that in my last vlog, so if you haven't yet watched my 39-week pregnancy vlog thing that I done, then I mentioned that in there. So then the next time I was booked in to see my midwife wasn't until I was 41 weeks pregnant, and I was kind of like, this is so annoying. Like, I really wanted to get things going. I was trying like raspberry leaf tea, I was bouncing on my ball, I was doing everything. Like I tried the, is it clary sage oil in the bath, tried everything. Nothing was really bringing on labour naturally. I was going for long walks, curb walking, you name it, I done it. So it was kind of just like, yeah, nothing was happening. I was having like regular Braxton Hicks, which is obviously very common at the end of pregnancy, and I was getting like the odd period cramp, but nothing else would happen after that. So it was just like, well, when I mentioned it to my midwife, she said it's just your body naturally preparing itself for labour, it's doing everything it's meant to do, so just let it go with the flow. So I wasn't too concerned about what was happening. So when it came to my 41-week midwife appointment on the 5th of October, I was ready to get the baby out. I was getting very uncomfortable. Everyone was just messaging me like, you had the baby and you sounded baby, and as much as I love it, everyone checking up on you is really frustrating because I'm like, I will announce when the baby is here. So when I went to my midwife appointment, she was like, what's the plan? And I said like, I would like a sweep today and I'm happy to book an induction in, even though ideally I didn't want an induction, but like in my head I needed like something mentally, like I knew this pregnancy was going to end at some point, so like I could work towards that date, you know. Like in my head I was thinking like, there's an end in sight, like this baby is coming on this date if it's not already happened by then. So she was like, yeah, that's fine. So we completed a sweep. When she done my cervical examination, she said I was 1 centimetre dilated and my cervix was starting to thinnen out. And as she was actually doing the sweep itself, which was quite uncomfortable, I didn't actually find it too painful. It was just like very like, what the hell, like, I've never had anything like this done before in my life. As she was completing the sweep, baby actually dropped on her fingers as she was doing it, and she was like, oh, did you feel that? And I just felt like intense pressure, like I needed a wee, and I was like, yes, I do feel that. She's like, that's just baby's head. She's like dropped even lower as I was doing the sweep, and I was like, oh, okay, like this is a good thing. She even said to me like after, she's like, I reckon this is going to put you into labour. And I was like, do you know what? I've got to the point now where I've tried everything. Like if this doesn't work, I'm not surprised because nothing's worked at this point. So she completed the sweep, that was done. And she then booked me in for an induction, which she said, I cannot give you a date right now, but you'll receive a text message within the next couple of days. So this was on a Thursday and I was expecting the text message to be like on the Monday. Like I was expecting it to be like over the weekend, maybe if not by the weekend, I'll hear something by Monday. If not, then she said to ring up if I don't hear anything. I come home, I had slight period cramps, bit of backache, like nothing major. I started to like gradually lose my mucus plug, which bit TMI, but you're watching a birth story. This is a very TMI video. So just to put that out there, any like, trigger warnings, etc. Yeah, so I started to gradually lose my mucus plug, which I didn't actually think it was at first because like I said, it was like gradually coming apart. Like some people have it like in a big bit. I had mine like gradually over the course of Friday and Saturday, I was losing my mucus plug. So come home on the Thursday, I was acting very chilled, very relaxed, went for another walk with Jaden. Like I said, nothing happened. My mum was convinced I was going to go into labour that night. She was like, it's going to be tonight, now you've got induction booked. She was like, it's going to happen, like baby knows she's going to come soon. So I was thinking in my head like maybe it is going to be tonight, but again, nothing happened. Woke up Friday morning and I was checking my phone. It was actually like 8:30 in the morning and I received a text message. Sorry, I'm looking at my phone. Received a text message with a date of my induction, which was for the Sunday. So Sunday the 8th of October. And I was like really shocked because I was expecting, like I said, to receive a text message at the beginning of the new week. And I was like, oh my God, this weekend. And I was like starting to get a bit scared. I woke Jaden up and I was like, Jaden, guess what? Like I'm being induced on Sunday. And he was like, what, next Sunday? And I was like, no, this Sunday come in. So it was kind of like panic mode. So I spent like all of Friday and Saturday like literally like blitzing the house. Like I was like, I need to get everything ready. Double checked all of my hospital bags, got all them ready. Yeah, it was very exciting. I took like all my last bump pictures to make sure like I had like all the memories, just like preparing for baby to come on Sunday. It was just so surreal. We had to be there for 8:30 in the morning. So it was like first thing in the morning, which I'm glad about because some people's, I know they can give you different times. You can go in the afternoon. And I was just like, I'm glad it's first thing in the morning. I don't have time to think about it. I'm just going to go in. And I am not leaving without a baby. That's what I had in my head. So that was Friday morning. Saturday evening, I then like, I was certain I was losing my mucus plug because like a bigger chunk came away and I sent a picture to my mum and I was like, Mum, I think this is my mucus plug. She's like, She's like, it's going to happen tonight. Everyone kept saying to me, it's going to happen tonight. And I was like, no, it's not. Woke up on Sunday morning, got everything ready, had all our bags packed ready in the car. Guys, we are on our way to the hospital. Jaden almost just killed a pigeon.
Well, no, it didn't.
It just didn't want to move out of the road. What's the time? Like 2 minutes to 8 in the morning. I did not sleep, but I felt like I didn't sleep.
Definitely sleep.
But apparently I accidentally punched Jaden in the face last night. But I felt like I didn't sleep. I was tossing and turning. It felt hot last night. All these things kept going around in my head, like this might happen, this might happen. Oh my God, what if this happens? I don't know. Yeah, we're en route. Can you believe it, Gina? Hopefully the next time we're in this car, we'll be bringing the baby home. Well, I hope so anyway. I hope they don't send me home because that'll just be just my luck, that will be. Better so when the baby's coming. When do you reckon the baby's gonna come?
Tonight.
Do you reckon? Are you gonna be home tonight?
Oh, well I can. I'll see you tomorrow.
No. You're gonna be helping me, love. We arrived at the hospital for 8:30 in the morning. I was admitted straight onto the assessment unit. So you have like different parts in the hospital, like, well, my hospital I did anyway. You have like the delivery suite and you have the assessment unit and you have like the wards. We were admitted onto the assessment unit. So when we get there, we had a lovely midwife and a lovely HCA. The midwife was like Irish and she was very straight to the point and I liked that about her. She was just like, love, you could be here for 4 days. Like this is not a straightforward process because me and Jane didn't bring our bags in. So I asked her like, should I get our bags? She was like, no. She was like, until anything progresses, like leave your bags in the car because you could be here for a long period of time. Don't expect it to be an in and out thing. So I was kind of like, great, like I could be here for like 4 or 5 days at this point. Like I'm not getting my hopes up for having my baby overnight, but it was just kind of like, okay, like she was just like straight to the point, which was good because in my head then I was thinking, right, this baby could be here, not now, it could be a couple of days. And she put me on a CTG, I think it's called, like a monitor on my belly to check baby was happy, and she gave me like a button to press every time I felt her move, even though she's not very active in the morning at all. So I was kind of like really anxious like pressing it because I thought, I hope she's moving in there, which is fine. Baby was healthy, happy. And she come in and she discussed my options and she said the doctors have decided for me to start with a cook, I think it's called a cook balloon or a cock balloon, I think it's called balloon. It's the balloon, I know it's the balloon. She's like, doctors have decided for you to start with the balloon, and if that doesn't work, they'll progress to a pessary. We'll just see how things go. With the balloon, I'll kind of like put like a, if I can find a definition of what it is there, or do like some research yourself, but all I know is that it's like not a hormone that puts you into labour. It's kind of like, it literally is a balloon that's inserted into your cervix to kind of like help yourself dilate and get your cervix ready to go into labour. So she was like, it's very unlikely you are going to go into labour with the balloon, but it's like the first step of the induction process for you. So I was like, oh, okay, perfect. So she asked me, she was like, have you had a sweep? And I said, yeah, I had a sweep on Thursday, like nothing happened. She was like, did you find it painful? And I was like, no, not really. I said slightly uncomfortable, but nothing majorly like painful at all. She goes, well, my love, she goes, you didn't do it right. She said a sweep is meant to be painful, especially if it's going to put you into labour. And I was just like, oh, okay. Like she really like shut me down right there. She said, right, we're going to do another cervical examination and we will see what your cervix is like since your sweep. Is it progressed from 1 centimetre? And we might be able to pop your waters. If not, we'll insert the balloon. And I was like, perfect. Started to get things ready for the cervical examination. She did it and she was like, love, nothing's happened since your last sweep. She was like, I'm going to give you another sweep right now and also insert the balloon. And I was like, right, okay. And this sweep, guys, she literally almost took me off the bed. I thought I was gonna come off the bed. She was shaking my insides around so much and it was painful, and I was trying not to scream in this bed, like because we were in a bay, like with all these other people with just curtains around us, and I'm literally like holding onto the bed for dear life. And she was like, right, that's done. She was like, if that doesn't put you into labour itself, I don't know what will. And I was like, you're telling me? I was left on the bed like trying to hold in so much pain. So she then inserted the balloon. The balloon was literally like nothing compared to that sweep she completed. Like that was painful. So I was like, this balloon is literally nothing. So she inserts the balloon and she said she filled the balloon with 80 mils. I think there's 2 balloons. So one goes inside your cervix, one sits on the outside. And she said both balloons are filled up with 80 mils of water to see what happens and helps with your cervix dilating. And yeah, we basically get left with that in, I think it's like for 24 hours to see if anything happens. If not, they then move on to the next step, which would be a pessary, or if anything has happened, then they'll put like, they might be able to pump my waters, etc. Like the process just goes on. She done that. She left us to do her own thing. She was like, I'll be back in a minute to see what the next steps are for you, Megan, and we'll go from there. And I was like, brill. So I'm sat there then. Obviously I'm getting like some period cramps, which I was kind of expecting from that sweep she did, because like I said, it was painful. She comes back about 10 minutes later. She goes, oh, Megan, I've just read your notes. Doctor said that you can go home, like, and just see if you progress at home. And she's seen with the look on my face that I was like, I am not going home. Like, I was like, She was like, you don't want to go, do you? And I said, no, like in my head, I've come here to have a baby and I'm not leaving without one. She was like, right, okay, that's fine. We'll get you a space on a ward and just let you do your own thing. Just see what happens. And I was like, perfect, that's the plan for me. Within like half an hour, she comes in, she's like, right, we're going to move you into a bay, like a couple bay, like you're sharing a room with another couple, and we'll just let you do your own thing, basically as if you're at home, like go for walks, do whatever you want, and if anything happens, just press your buzzer and let one of us know. And I was like, perfect. So we got moved to the room. I said to Jaden, like, I think we should get the bags because we're staying here now until we have the baby, so we might as well get our bags in. And obviously I wanted my bag for my stuff just so I felt comfortable, whatever I needed. We asked the midwife if we can go. She goes, yep, do whatever you want, like honestly, like act like it's a home from home, like just do your own thing. Walk into the car park, which wasn't a close walk. We had to like literally walk like a good 10-minute walk to the car park. Every couple of minutes I had to stop because I was getting these like intense period cramps, and I was just thinking to myself, like, these can't be contractions like already. Like I literally had this balloon inserted like an hour ago, not even an hour, and I'm already feeling this. And Jane's like, you right, Meg, do you want to sit down? Do you want to sit down? And I'm like, no, it's fine, like I'm being a baby, like these are not anything compared to what I was expecting. Like these pains are coming on thick and fast, but it's okay. So we carry on walking to the car, get the bags, walk all the way back. They were still happening, these regular cramps. Like they were just like intense period cramps. I said to Jaden, I'm gonna like start timing them on my phone because I had a contraction timer ready just in case if I ever went into labour at home, like to see if it was like regular or not. So I started timing them. And they were coming like every 2 minutes. I think they started at 3 or 4 minutes, and then they got like every 2 minutes. They were like regular contractions. Well, I thought what I would describe as contractions. That's what they felt like. I rang my mum and she was like, Megan, I think you like are having contractions. She's like, you need to like press your buzzer and tell the midwife. So I was like, oh, okay. Like I don't want to sound like I'm being a baby. Like I've had this thing in like an hour or two. Like nothing's happened. Like I don't want them to think like I'm being dramatic. I called the midwife. She came in. I said, look, I think I'm having contractions, what I would describe as contractions. And she looks at me like, really? Like, you're having contractions, okay. Like she looked at me like, right, okay, I don't really believe that. She was like, I'm gonna go get another monitor. She goes, we'll put you on the monitor and see what these pains are and how regular they're coming. So she comes back in and she leaves me on this monitor for a good half an hour. And the annoying thing about being on the monitor is that you can't get up, and I was coping really well with like standing up. I was using a labour comb, so anyone who's experiencing, well, gonna experience labour soon, like I would really invest in one of those labour combs because they actually really helped me for like the beginning bit of labour. I was using that to get through these, and obviously when I had to be on the monitor I was like led on the bed, so it was like really frustrating because I didn't want to be led down. I like wanted to be stood up. So she left me on the monitor for a good half an hour and she was like, I'll come back and we'll see what the sheet of paper is saying, like we'll see what these contractions are, what pains these are. She comes back and she was like, oh yeah, you're definitely having contractions and they're coming quite regularly. And I was like, yes, I know, like I'm in pain. And she goes, right, I'm gonna get you some paracetamol and see if that takes the edge off. My face when she said paracetamol, I was like, paracetamol's not going to do nothing. And she was like, well, we have to offer a paracetamol at the beginning and we'll just work our way up to like the pain relief options. I was like, okay. Gets me paracetamol, that didn't work, so she gives me codeine. Codeine did not even touch the sides with how intense these contractions were. All day then I was pretty much left to be labouring. With that then I asked about whether or not she thinks the balloon was working because I was having these contractions so regularly and they were coming on very intense. And she said to me that basically she didn't think I was dilating because the balloon inside me would fall out, because obviously like one of the balloons was inside my cervix. So she said, if this is working, then the balloon would just fall out. And I was like, right, okay. Obviously I was like led on the bed as she was saying this, and I was like, how will I know if it's fallen out if I'm like led down, because I'm not getting up and wandering around because I was on the monitor. And she goes, oh, you know, like it's just something like coming out. Like she's just like, this midwife, like she was lovely, but she was very like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like she didn't believe anything I was saying, and she was kind of like, she didn't really want to do it. Like when it comes to doing things, she was just like, oh no, like you'll know when it happens. Like just left me to do my own thing. And obviously I was in a lot of pain at this point as well. So when she said that, I was like, right, okay. So I just got left there to have these contractions and they were so painful. Jaden, bless him, was sat there all day with my laptop watching football. He watched all of the Beckhams Netflix documentary. Like he was loving life while I was in pain, but he obviously couldn't do anything about it. Like I said, got left pretty much all day just to labour. She kept coming in and she said the only option, because I kept pressing the buzzer like, look, I'm not coping. And she said the only option was to take some of the fluid, like the water, sorry. She's like, we can remove some of the water from the balloons because it was kind of like hanging out of me like a little catheter end. And she was like, we can remove some of the water if it's too intense, because the pressure I felt every time I was getting these contractions was so intense. It felt like something was in my bum. Yeah, I was like, something needs to happen. She's like, well, I'll remove some of the water. The maximum they could remove was 20 mils. So I still had 60 mils of water in both balloons on either end of my cervix, which was still painful every time I had a contraction. Got left like that for a couple of hours to see if that worked. That didn't work. So I called her back in again. This was around 6 o'clock. I said to her like, look, still not coping. She said, why don't you try and have a hot shower or a nice warm bath? Because some women find that really helpful. And I was like, right, okay, like I'll try that. So one of the midwives ran me a nice bath. I had a bath. That didn't work. I was sat in there for a good 40 minutes trying to like ease the pain. Like it was nice and hot. No, did not work. Like if anything, in that bath I was getting like more intense contractions, and I said to Jaden like, I actually physically can't cope. I was like groaning at this point, like, I couldn't talk through them. So Jaden, bless him, like had to get me out the bath, like literally dress me and help me like go back to the room. As we were walking back to the room, the midwife was like, how was the bath? Like how did you find it? And I was like, look, love, like this bath didn't work. Like if anything, it made it worse. So she's like, right, I'm gonna get you on the monitor again. Like literally was like on and off the monitor all day. She's like, get you on the monitor again, see what's going on with these contractions, see how intense they're coming, and see what we can do. I think she didn't believe that I was in labour. She said basically if I was in labour the balloon would have fell out, which it didn't. So she was like, I don't think you're progressing at all, my love. Like basically she just left me to do it. Like she was gonna leave it in, I think, for the whole 24 hours. Got back in the room and she put me on the monitor. I'm gonna leave you on this for half an hour or so and let me know how you're coping with the pain. And I obviously pressed my buzzer within like 10 minutes. And she was like, look, she comes in, right? She comes in. So midwives, like I think their shift changes at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. She comes in about 7 o'clock and she's like, the thing is, I don't really want to make a decision for you right now because I'm very tired. It's been a long day and I feel like I haven't got a fresh mind, which I completely understand. But for someone who's literally been in pain all day from like 9 o'clock in the morning till about 8 o'clock at night, I was just like, love, the least you can do is just help me out here and like do something, because at this point I was literally going to tell her to take the balloon out and just see what's going on down there, and I was happy to leave it out, to be honest, because it was causing me that much pain. Yeah, that's what she said to me. She left. So when the midwives changed over, so I'm going to say around 8 o'clock, the new midwife came in, and I was so happy to see this new face, because when she came in she had a plan straight away. One thing I forgot to mention before the new midwife came in, the other midwife who was on the day team, she offered me pethidine, I think that's how you say it. She was like, Megan, the only other thing we can offer you is pethidine, and I really didn't like the idea of having pethidine because I already felt quite nauseous from the codeine, so having pethidine as well, I know like it's such an intense drug, I was just like, nah. I was like, I'm really not keen on the idea of having like pethidine. So she just kept offering me pethidine, and I was just like, love, I really don't want pethidine. So when this new nurse came on, she was like, right, we got this whole new plan. She was like, we're gonna take the balloon out, and I was like, yes, thank the Lord, because I've got to the point where I was going to ask her, like I said, to take it out anyway. So she comes in and she's like, don't be disheartened if you're only 2 centimeters. She's like, something is better than nothing, basically. She was like, if we have to reinsert the balloon, we'll reinsert the balloon. If not, I'll like check with the doctors and see what the plan is next. She's like, but I can tell that you really want this balloon out. And I said, yes, like, you know what my head's saying, like you can read my mind. So she comes in and she has all this stuff ready to take the balloon out, and she takes it out and she says, love, you're 5 centimeters dilated. That was literally like music to my ears. I probably could have cried in that moment with just happiness, because I was like, thank God, like something is happening. From what the midwife before was telling me, like she was really making me doubt myself and thinking that like I didn't know my own body, whereas this woman come in and she was like, I know what you want, my love, and she literally like answered all my questions, and she was amazing. I was 5 centimeters dilated, and I just was like over the moon. The midwife from the night team said to me, she's like, I'm going to call the central delivery suite, because if they've got a bed you can now move up to the delivery suite. And I was like, thank God, because then you can get more. I was just thinking of pain relief, you know, I was just thinking like I can get gas and air, I can have an epidural, like I can have all this stuff, like there's going to be more options. As she took out the balloon, she goes, I'm going to put you back on the monitor. She thought maybe the balloon was like causing my contractions to come like so intense and regular, like because there's so much pressure. She goes, once she's removed it, she reckons that it might have slowed down my contractions a bit. So she was like, I'll leave you on the monitor and see how your contractions are. And I literally called her back within 10 minutes, like in so much pain. If anything, I was in more pain because it was just like even more pressure, because obviously the baby's head was like right there. She was like, yeah, you're definitely still getting these contractions. She's like, I'm going to call them now to see if we can move you up to the delivery suite and get you going, basically. So within like 15 minutes, she was back with a wheelchair, and she had like portable gas in there for me, and she had Jaden carrying all the bags, and she's like, we're going to move you to the delivery suite. And I was like, brilliant. So we're literally running up the corridor now. Jaden's on the phone to my mum, so my mum can finally come in to be my other birthing partner. So I get to the delivery suite, and I remember just like groaning into this gas and air. Jaden said I wasn't bad, but I reckon obviously if I didn't have the gas and air, I would have been a lot worse. I probably would have been like shouting in so much pain. I was like groaning into the gas and air. I remember the midwives doing their little handover. It felt like minutes, and my mum was there, because my mum doesn't live far from the hospital, but I know it was obviously longer than minutes, but I was in that much pain that I was like high as a kite off this gas and air. So my mum runs in, and she obviously seen how much pain I was in. She went to the midwife, she was like, has she not told you her birth plan? Even though guys, I didn't have a birth plan, but my mum knew I was very keen on having an epidural if I needed it. Like my mum was like, she wants an epidural, give her an epidural. So the midwife was like, oh, is that right, Megan, do you want an epidural? And I was like, yes, love, give me anything, like please just give me anything at this point, because the pain was that intense, and I do not want to scare anyone who is expecting a baby anytime soon, but I want to be real. I found the pain so intense, and yeah, it was quite bad. I literally was at that point like, give me anything. So an epidural to me was literally like amazing. So obviously with that point they had to go and get an anaesthetist, I think that's how you say it, to come in and explain the whole process to me. I was so high, I don't even think I remember half of what she was saying to me, but I was more than happy. I was just like, yeah, give me anything. It took a good like hour, I'd say, for them to actually go from the process of asking for an epidural to actually having it inserted, because of the process of like gaining consent and things like that. And actually getting the epidural in itself was a task, because you literally have to like to bend in a certain position, and doing that whilst having a contraction was hard, but I did it, and it took a while. Like I just remember the lady telling me off, like, you're not bending properly, like bend, like stick your back out, like telling me all this stuff, and I was just like, right, okay, like whilst having a contraction it was so hard, but I did it. So the epidural was fitted, and oh my god, it was like heaven once that was fitted. I think that was around, I've written down here, epidural between 10 and 11 p.m. And as they done that, they also had to insert a catheter, because obviously then I had like lost sensation of like my bottom half of my body. Even though I could still move my legs, it just felt like pins and needles, and like didn't feel like my legs. So they put a catheter in, because obviously I wasn't able to get up and go to the toilet. So I wrote down here that I was still feeling contractions, that I can still feel when they were happening, because like the pressure, like some people have an epidural and it literally like they're completely numb, but with me, like, I would still feel like the pressure of a contraction, but just no pain. It took like a good hour, I'd say, for the epidural to actually fully work. I had like a little button that I could top up the epidural like every half an hour, and I was saying to my mum, like, when has it been 20 minutes? So I can like press it again to make sure like the pain just didn't come back. Like, it scarred me for life, that pain. So I was literally like, no, it's not coming back. I was pressing that button for dear life. So we were kind of left then, like, once obviously I had the epidural, like, things calmed down, the room was calm, like, it was obviously getting to like early hours of the morning. So my mum and Jaden were just chilling, like, Jaden was having a nap in the chair. I was just like in and out of, well, I don't think I even slept, to be honest. I was just kind of like having like labor shakes. Like, when they say labor shakes, it's like the adrenaline, like, it's so high, you're like shaking in the bed, and I just couldn't sleep. Like, you're just so excited but so nervous at the same time. The midwives were lovely. I had a student midwife as well. She was lovely. So we were just kind of having our conversations. I forgot to mention as well, when I got to the delivery suite, they actually completed another examination, and I was already another 2 centimeters dilated, so I was 7 centimeters. So I think when I asked for an epidural, she was kind of like, are you sure, like, you're progressing really well, like, you're progressing really quick? And I was like, no, like, I'm not going another 3. Like, I know some people can progress like to 10 centimeters so quickly, and I was just thinking, like, even though I've got to 7 so quickly, I don't want to go another 3 centimeters and it could take a whole day. Like, I was just like, no, I want an epidural, please. So yeah, I was 7 centimeters when I had the epidural inserted. So yeah, we kind of just got left then to do our own thing, and she was like, I'm gonna check you again. I think they do examinations every 4 hours. I got to 10 centimeters at 2:30 in the morning. But because I had an epidural, they said to me they wanted to give me an hour to see if the baby naturally descends. I think that's the word they used, but they said that we give it an hour and see what baby does, make sure baby's happy, and then we can start pushing. Yeah, pushing started at 3:30 in the morning. They kind of said to me, like, we'll just see how you get on. I know some people, they say like they do practice pushes, but with me, they were just like, we're gonna go straight into pushing. I think it's because they left it a good hour. Obviously, when I got to 10 centimeters, they left it from 2:30 to 3:30, so they were kind of like ready for me to push the baby out. With that, they had to take the catheter out, my urine catheter. They had to remove it to help me push. So I no longer had a catheter in, which is a very key part of the story for the next bit. So I started pushing away. As I was pushing, they were quite worried about the baby's heart rate. The baby's heart rate kept dropping, and I just remember doctors coming in, like, in and out to like check over the monitor sheet, and they were like quite concerned that baby's heart rate was dropping quite low as I was having a contraction. Just remember the doctor saying, like, to the midwife, like, is the baby going to be out in the next 2 pushes? Otherwise we're going to have to like intervene. And I remember hearing that, and I was like, nah, I have not come all this way to get rushed into theatre or have like some intervention. Like, I am pushing this baby out. I'm turning into the Hulk. I physically turned into the Hulk, and I was like pushing this baby out. It was painful. I remember the ring of fire. Like, I still, even though I had an epidural, like, I still felt every pain of my bit stretching down there. It was quite intense. And when they tell you not to push when the baby's head's there, that's another story. Yeah, the doctors were literally like watching over me as I was pushing to make sure baby was okay. And they kept struggling to find her heart rate on me, because obviously where she was so low down and she was moving, they kept struggling to find the heart rate. So I think they were getting quite worried. And obviously I was panicking. I was just like, this baby's coming out. Like, I think I started pushing at 3:30 and baby was born by 4:15 in the morning. So I was actually pushing for like 45 minutes, not long at all, which was crazy. I was expecting to be pushing for like over an hour. With baby being born at 4:15 in the morning, she cried straight away. They put her straight onto my chest, and it was just the most surreal moment. I remember just being like so relieved. Jaden was just in shock. Jaden was just there like, what has happened? I think because obviously the doctor's coming in, it was quite worrying. I was thinking like, I'm gonna have to go to theatre, and it was just scary. She was happy and healthy, and it was just amazing. Not only do you have to push out a baby, you also then have to deliver the placenta. They asked me before I started pushing, like, whether or not I'd be open to having the injection to help me deliver the placenta, and I was more than open to it. I was like, yeah, that's fine. So as soon as they literally put the baby on my chest, I had an injection in my arm to help me deliver the placenta, and they said it should be delivered, but they give it an hour for the placenta to be delivered, and if not, then they'll have to call the doctors back in to see what next thing. Obviously then I might have to go to theatre with that, I don't know, but they said we'll give it an hour. So obviously with that, an hour goes by, and during that hour I had baby on me, mum held baby. I felt so weak. I remember just feeling shaky and sick, because with the epidural I wasn't allowed to eat, and I couldn't eat anything the night before. In the bay with the other couple, Jaden's mum actually bought us some McDonald's, and I literally couldn't eat it. The thought of eating it was just making me feel sick. Like, the smell of the food was making me feel sick. I didn't eat anything for a good, I don't even know how many hours, but it felt like forever, and I was starving. Like, my belly was rumbling so much, but I was only allowed sips of water, and she let me have Lucozade at a push. So yeah, I wasn't allowed to eat anything. So when I had her, I just felt so weak. So my mum actually took her off me for like the majority of it, got her dressed. Yeah, she had a poo. Oh, actually, saying that, I forgot to mention a major part of it. Just before I got to 10 centimeters, because my waters hadn't broken at this point, the midwife had to pop my waters, and baby had pooed inside of me. So I think it's called meconium. It was pooey water that came out. So that was another reason why they were so worried about her heart rate dropping. It's a sign of baby going into distress. And as soon as she came onto my chest, she pooed all down my leg as well. So she loved to poo. She loves, even now she loves pooing obviously, but she was pooing non-stop. Mum had to like get her cleaned up, and I remember just feeling so weak. Midwives kept trying to come and tug on the placenta a little bit and see if it would come out. Nothing was working. So an hour had come and gone by, and they were quite worried, so they had to get the doctors back in. So you can imagine how I was feeling, because I was just there like, oh my god, I've just delivered a baby and now the placenta's not coming out. Like, it's actually really scary. So when the doctors came in, she said, Megan, when did you last have a wee? And I was like, I don't know. I thought I had a catheter in, and she was like, no, like it's taken out. And the midwife was like, I just seen the midwife's face, like she was like, oh shit, like the catheter's not been put back in. The doctor said like, let's see how much is in your bladder, and she put an in and out catheter in straight away, filled up like a whole bowl of wee, and then the placenta came flying out. So it was because my bladder was blocking it the whole time. The midwife felt so bad, bless her, but she had so much going on that she was just like a bit all over the place, obviously with her baby's heart rate dropping, like she was so busy, and she was just like apologising. She's like, I'm so sorry to scare you, like that was my fault. I said, it's not your fault. It's not your fault, it's fine. But it was quite scary. I was thinking like, I'm gonna have to go to theatre. It was a massive relief when I delivered the placenta. I was like, thank God, like everything's gonna be fine now. I can like get moved to a ward, have cuddles with baby, like feel fine. They were like, whilst we're here, Megan, we're gonna check down below to see for any tears. And I was like, right, okay. I thought I definitely tore anyway, because like I said, I turned into the Hulk when I was pushing, so I wasn't surprised if I did tear down there. So she was checking, obviously, down below, and she was like talking to her colleague, and they were like, not whispering, but they were like saying their like technical terms to each other. And I was like, right, okay, what's going on? Because my legs at this point were like in stirrups, and I just seen them at the bottom like having their own conversation, and I could see something wasn't right. And she was like, I said, oh, what's wrong? And she was like, right, Megan, we think you've got a 3rd degree tear, which I don't actually know what these 2nd degree and 3rd degree tear, like the technical terms of it, but I just know 3rd degree is quite bad. And when she said it, I was like, right, okay. And she goes, we actually think you've tore down to your bum. And I was like, okay. Like, what next? And she was like, so we're gonna have to take you to theatre to get stitched up. And I just remember bursting out crying, because I was just thinking like, it was just felt like one thing after another. Like, I've just given birth to a baby, then the placenta didn't deliver, and then now I've torn that badly that I'm gonna have to go to theatre anyway. So I remember just all these emotions just came over me, and I just started crying. And they were like, oh no, you'll be absolutely fine. They like rushed in, like all these doctors, they were like, we're gonna have to like rush you into theatre now. So they were all getting ready. They gave Jaden some scrubs for Jaden to come down to theatre with me. Like the baby was gonna stay with my mum. So it was kind of just like very like, well, what's going on? They come in with a consent form, and on the consent form it said that there was a risk of me being incontinent, and they're gonna have to refer me to like all these classes after, like to sort out, what's it called, do like exercises down there to help with my incontinence. And it was just like, I was just thinking in my head like, I'm 23 and they're telling me I'm gonna have to wear nappies. Like, oh my god, it was just like a whole range of emotions. So we were expecting to go down to theatre pretty much straight away. So like I said, we were getting everything ready. Mum was gonna stay with baby. We were waiting, and the midwife comes in. She said, I'm so sorry, Megan, but like an emergency has come in. You've been pushed back a bit. So we were waiting again. Then another emergency happened, so I had to wait again. So we actually didn't end up going into theatre until 9 o'clock in the morning. Bearing in mind, I'd given birth at 4:15. I didn't end up going into theatre till 9 o'clock in the morning. So we were waiting around for ages. And to top it off, as I was about to go into theatre, the midwife who was in charge, she came in and she goes, Megan, I'm so sorry, but we're not able to have your mum stay anymore. She's gonna have to go home, so the baby's gonna have to come into theatre with you. And I was just like, what? All this has just happened. Basically, she's telling me that me and Jaden's gonna have to go into theatre. Jaden, bless him, obviously Jaden was gonna come with me anyway, but Jaden was gonna have to look after the baby. As much as like Jaden would know what he's doing, but he's a first time dad and he doesn't know what to do. And I was just thinking like, it was the worst position ever to be put in. And they said basically because it was a Monday morning, obviously they plan on all these elective C-sections and elective surgeries, and she said that basically there'd be no room for my mum to stay because I'd be moving out of the room that we were in and they'll be putting me into recovery and there'll be no room, so my mum had to leave. And I was just like, this is the worst thing ever. I was just like crying my eyes out. I just had like a breakdown. And she was lovely. The head midwife was so nice. She came in and she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. She was like, if I had my way, like I would 100% let your mum stay. She was like, it would just be so busy, like I'll get told off if I let her stay, which I completely understand. But for me, like I was just like, oh my god, This is the worst thing ever. So Jaden comes down into theatre with me with baby, like she's in her little like trolley wheeling down, but she was good as gold. That all the midwives were so nice as well, like because the midwife who looked after us on the night, she had gone home, so we had a new midwife. She was lovely and she literally helped Jaden throughout the whole thing. Like when she was like starting to like squeal and things, like she was helping him. Like it was lovely. They were so nice. Even the whole theatre experience I got in there, it was amazing. They were all so lovely. There's about, I didn't realise there's like 20 of them in a room, like, and they're all just surrounding me, like checking that I'm okay. Like I'm connected to all these monitors. I felt really safe and happy. We've gone into theatre. They obviously had to top up my epidural with something stronger because I was having like obviously like actual stitches and stuff down there. They topped me up and my legs felt like more numb. I was still like able to feel them, but like just more pins and needles and like more numb. They just felt like dead weight, like I couldn't lift them up. Surgeon's like checking me over because I had like this big screen in front of me. She was like, Megan, and I was like, who's that calling my name? Like I said, there's so many people in the room. I was literally like, who's that? And she like pokes her head over and she's like, just to let you know, like I've done a check down there, like you'll be glad to know it's not a 3rd degree, it's only a 2nd degree, which obviously is still quite bad, but the recovery is like a lot better, so we can stitch you up. And I was like, perfect. That was really good news, and I was glad that I was not going to be incontinent. I am not incontinent, guys, just so you know. I have had a wee and a poo in my own time, you know, it's fine. So that was really good news, and they stitched me up. I was actually in and out. Like I said, we got to there about 9 o'clock, and by 9:30 I was already in recovery, and I was able to have loads of cuddles with baby. Like I'll insert some pictures of her like with me and Jaden, and it was just lovely like to have that moment with me and Jaden and the baby. Like it was like our first moment all together, like with her being there, and the midwife was coming over doing like regular blood pressure on me, and all was good really. Like obviously it was obviously sore down there, and when the epidural and things wore off, but I was on regular like paracetamol and ibuprofen, which really helped with the pain. I'm just glad it turned out to be a 2nd degree and not a 3rd degree tear, because the way they were talking about a 3rd degree tear, I was just like, I've just pushed a baby out and you're telling me now that I've got like another hole in my bum. So yeah, I'm glad that worked out well. So yeah, once we got to recovery, they gave us tea and toast. I was finally able to eat. That was like the best piece of toast I had because I was so like hungry. I hadn't eaten in like probably a long time, probably like almost 24 hours at that point. And I hadn't slept in that time either. So it was just like, thank God I'm eating food. Guys. Hello, baby. Come here. This is our baby. Baby Romy. There are milk spots on her nose. This is baby Romy.
This is smelly breath, Dad.
Yeah, guys, we haven't brushed our teeth in over
Been here for
26 hours and we haven't slept. I look rough.
Maybe like 20 minutes.
Huh?
Maybe 20 minutes.
But baby girl's here. How cute is she? Hold the camera while I show her hair.
Yeah, what's nice? You've actually got to take her in that.
I know.
And see
Show
Kobe.
Kobe. Kobe and
Oh,
Romy.
God, look at the hair on that thing. Babe, what's it look like on camera? I can't see.
Why don't you turn it like that? Look at her hair. She's got loads of hair.
You finished your little vlog, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, peace out. Peace out.
We FaceTimed some friends and family and we told them like baby's name. Yeah, it was just lovely. It turned out to be a really nice moment in recovery, and we stayed there for about an hour or so, I'd say, maybe just over an hour, before we then got moved onto the ward. So when we got to the ward, they kind of just said to me like, when you're ready to get up, like, feel like you're ready to get up and have a wash, etc., like just press your buzzer and we'll help you get out of bed. Yeah, with that then I got out of bed and had a wash. Yeah, I stayed there then another night. So that was Monday, and we stayed there Monday night and came home Tuesday, and we got discharged at Tuesday about 4:30. That was the whole birth story, which was literally, like, looking back now, it was like a roller coaster. Like it was all ups and downs. I'm sorry if this story just didn't make any sense, because looking back now I'm literally like even reading my notes, I'm like, right, okay, that happened, and I just can't believe she's here. I can't believe she's here. And like I said, with the induction process, like I was expecting to be there like a couple of days, and I literally had her, well, I started literally labouring the same day. Well, literally an hour after having that balloon inserted, I started labouring. So it's just crazy to think like how quick the process happened. I know that's not the process for everyone, but I was very lucky that it happened that quickly for me, even though maybe it was too quick to the point where I couldn't believe it. But she's here and she's happy and she's healthy, and that's the main thing. I might call Jaden actually to bring her up. Should I get Jaden to bring her up?
Yeah.
You're gonna bring her into the vlog. And Kobe, guys. Kobe got a baby sis.
She's wide awake. Probably now, actually.
So then everyone, this is Romy. Say hi everyone. She's fast asleep. Look at her. Look how tiny she is. She's got a little dry face coming. She's snug as a bug. Guys, she never lets us have a good 4D scan the whole way through because hands rolls in her face, and literally she's the same now. We always have to put mittens on her because she's like always at her face, scratching at her face. But she has been such a good girl, haven't you? Oh, I could just eat her. She's so cute. But yeah, this is Romy. She was born at 4:15 on the 9th of October. I keep going to say September. 9th of October 2023. And she has been a gorgeous, good girl. So anyway guys, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash a huge thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye bye. Say bye bye.